my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Big build up there, Dave. He's excited. Well, this is your pick. After my pick last week, you thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get Chris. So you've decided to go back to the legends that are Peter and David Paul, Dave. It also stars Richard Lynch and Eva LaRue. This one is the sword and sorcery movie, The Barbarians. Now, Dave, I know you'd never seen this before we came across this. I put across your bow this dynamic duo, but what information have you got about this movie for us?
Well, I'm afraid, yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't watch this in the 80s. Didn't even know really of its existence. But I watched plenty of other sword and sorcery Conan rip-offs, basically. And when you introduced me to Peter and David Paul, and we did Double Trouble, and you mentioned about this one, and then there's the over-the-top rip-off as well, I seeked it out after we'd done Double Trouble, and I was like, oh, fucking hell, this is Canon Films. And also, it's directed by Ruggero Deodato, basically, the bloke who did Cannibal Holocaust. So it's like, fucking hell, this is a slightly batshit crazy thing. Let's have a look at the trailer for this. Oh, fucking hell, this looks a bit of me, this. So I watched it last year, I think it was. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to have to keep this in the back pocket. And we're going to do this at some point. So, yeah, the callback is just loving that sword and sorcery genre. And again, I feel like there was a pre and post Conan era. Basically, when Arnie, looking absolutely amazing, did that Conan first film, then obviously he had a lot of spin-offs, and it was just so cheap to make. And I think that was probably the thing that attracted a lot of producers and stuff. And so, yeah, the 80s was just littered with all these sword and sorcery films. And so, yeah, I thought today was the time when I'd inflict it on you.
Thanks, Dave. Really kind of you.
And what about yourself? I'm guessing it's a similar. Well, apart from loving the sword and sorcery genre, being quite the opposite, until you broke the trend with gore, with the Rebecca Ferrati factor. But any other callbacks?
No, well, to be honest, when I saw these, I said to you at the time when we did Double Trouble, whatever it was called, I'd seen this one as well, but for some reason, I think I watched a bit of the trailer because I almost picked this just to sort of try and stitch you up because I hate sword and sorcery. It's like, yeah, this would be perfect. But I thought it was some sort of time traveling movie for some reason. Like one of them where they just land in this time, but it's not. But no, I went on that rabbit hole like yourself. Once I came across Peter and David Paul, just like fascinated with the life and how they came into movies, through the bodybuilding, and that like they were just these freaks of nature, which unfortunately, I think when you're renowned for having the bodies that they had, or, obviously, unfortunately, Peter Paul isn't with us now, David Paul's still, and he still looks in great shape, but you've always got to keep doing it, and you've got to keep going to the gym. You can't have an off day. They can't catch you on holiday in the Speedos. Obviously Arnie, a few times in his life where he might be on an off season or anything, you have pictures of him in Speedo, oh, he's not the Terminator now, and then 2 months later, or like Vin Diesel, you see him absolutely shredded up. It's like, yeah, because they take the vitamins. And I think these two just had such a sad life, I think, after the fame just never, well, I can't really say fucking these movies peaked. They're not like the Oscar winning, but they had a level of celebrity, didn't they? Where they did continue to play bit parts in movies after there was probably a 4 or 5 year run where they were the stars of these sort of B movie canon stuff. And then they just ended up getting a few odd bits here and there through the careers. But yeah, I just think it's really sad, really, that them as, as people and what happened to their lives and that. But it's still not going to fucking stop me talking about this fucking abomination that you've picked, David.
Oh, a little peek at the cards already there. Just to clarify, so unfortunately it was David Paul.
Oh, David, sorry, right, David Paul.
Unfortunately passed away. Not really explained, but yeah, really sad. He was 63.
Yeah, sad. He's the bigger one of the two, I think, as well. The slightly taller one, more muscle. I think he's a bit bigger in size as well. Yeah, sad.
I think when we watched Double Trouble, there's more of a differentiation. I think there was a little bit of work done. Yes. And I think David did look a little bit different then. So actually, I tell a lie. Just reading now, it was 2 days before their 63rd birthday, so he's 62.
Yeah, sad.
Well, after that little come down there, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
At the dawn of time, in a world of savage splendor, a tyrant of darkness ravaged the land and captured 2 defenseless children. Raised as slaves, trained as gladiators. Only together could they defeat the evil warlord. They were rogues.
Look at the size of you two.
Adventurers. Heroes. They were the Barbarians.
What's the name I want their head?
Fight or run? Run.
The internationally renowned bad boys of bodybuilding, Peter and David Paul.
Mark, get out of here, he's mine. No, get out. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Go ahead.
The Barbarians. Feel the power.
The Ragnicks are a tribe of peaceful entertainers travelling across a medieval land. They are attacked by the evil tyrant Kadar, who takes their queen, Canary, hostage. Her name's Canary, she's not a canary queen. So Canary, however, manages to hide her magic ruby, the lucky jewel of the Ragnicks, which Kadar seeks to bolster his power. 2 young twins from the tribe, Kutchik and Gore, bite off 2 of Kadar's fingers. In retaliation, Kadar takes them prisoner as well, but agrees to spare their lives if Canary becomes his bride. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, David, you've explained it yet again a lot better than what was going on the screen. So we get this weird 10-15 minute, obviously the twins are kids and we're getting this little build up. Honestly, I'm watching it thinking, is this the right fucking movie, this? Where are the Paul twins? It's really weird, but obviously it's only a $2.5 million budget, so I've got to be forgiving in that respect. But my God, this is a terrible movie. This is fucking awful. It's absolutely terrible. I know it's got a cult following and everything, and it's more when they come on, the twins. But we get the usual sword and sorcery bollocks, princess or queen's got to be captured or blackmailed, as you just said. The two lads there, they've got a bit of something about them, haven't they? They're only young kids, but they can, you can see they've got the fight in them. And then it pans forward to as they're older. Now, let's be honest, Dave. We've got to be honest here. We know that they're slaves. We know that they're working, and they're strong. But the size of these two is ridiculous. You've got them walking around with wearing G ropes. They're not G string, they're G ropes because of the fucking size of the legs and their arse cheeks. And it's just nonsense. And what really takes me out of the movie is, I think it's Peter Paul. his strong New York accent is completely there. When they're just shouting all the time, aren't they? They're just fucking screaming and shouting in his accent. I know we watch movies and you're like, well, he's got an American accent, but everyone else is English. We've watched loads of them, haven't we? What the fuck's going on? But it's so bad. They're acting. Well, they're not even acting. And for some reason, they keep doing the same shot of him where throughout the whole movie where they're sort of semi-squatted down looking up at the camera. And then they obviously can't run because they're too genetically enhanced. And it's just, and they're acting. There is no acting. Let's be honest. There is no acting in this. But fuck me, it is a bad movie. It is terrible. It's absolutely awful. And exactly what you wanted to hear off me within 5 minutes after the trailer is exactly what you're getting, because this is fucking terrible, Dave.
How dare you? This is a masterpiece. Well, actually, no, I'm not quite going to go to that corner and defend that. But I have to say, I thought Chris, I've watched this twice, so I think the opening. So a lot of this was shot in Italy, and I think considering the modest budget, considering it's Canon Films, I mean, you kind of know with the Canon film. Strap yourself in because you're going to be in for a lot of fun. And I think this is an incredibly fun movie. But also, the scale of it, some of the shots, I think it just looks amazing. Now, the whole traveling Ragniks thing, I mean, it goes on for ages. And I tell you what I found odd, right? I'm sure they could have cut that down. But again, they have to be a little bit careful with the budget. Because you're getting these same shots. Now, Canary's the queen there. She seems to be some kind of magical leader of the Ragniks and whatever. We get this weird shot where she is sat at the center of the screen, like with her legs open and this tiny little bit of thread covering her modesty.
Yes.
But it goes on for ages.
Yeah.
And it keeps going back, and you've got these bandits who are chasing them and stuff, and it keeps going back to the same shot, and it's like you're almost uncomfortable. You're like, I've been looking away at the screen because you can't avoid it. It's like right in the middle of the center. So I just thought, I don't think I've ever seen that on any other movie. And when they're bouncing about in the wagon, yeah, well, not one for this podcast anyway, but it's as if she's trying to keep in the center of the shot.
Yes.
You know? So, yeah, I don't know. So straight away, I'm like, this is going to be a bit exploitative, I think. I mean, so you obviously noticed it as well.
I might have done, Dave. I may have done. But, yeah, there's some weird, and you're right, because it's weird this, it's a sword and sorcery movie, but we do get breasticles as well in the movie, which is quite interesting because not from an
academic point of view, do you?
Yeah, obviously from an artistic point of view as a review, but it's like almost comedy, but then it's like they were going for a higher rating. So I'll tell you what, let's just put some bare-chested women together, scantily clad, which was disgusting, Dave, and degrading as well. But I will say that. Like, when they start fighting, they are impressive. They both look awesome, don't they? This was probably their peak physically. Like, they look amazing, both of them. They really do. But, again, just the genetics and the physics of the body, they can't fucking run. I can imagine off camera, they were selling, right, run. And, you do different shots over and over. I reckon these should have been fucked after about 2 or 3 takes, because there's no way they're doing cardio, these two. And it's their acting, though. And you've got this sibling rivalry stuff where they're like kicking off of each other. So they're obviously trying to kill each other at the start. And then it all changes. And they like get away. But they're so strong. They're like picking people up with one arm and fucking all this nonsense. And but the jokes, I'm just like, oh my fucking God, Dave. Honestly, I think Double Trouble's better than this. And that's fucking terrible.
No.
Oh, 100%.
This, for me, I mean, it's almost like Canon would have had a great time with AI, wouldn't they? We'd have had even more movies.
My God,
but
brilliant.
all of the tropes of sword and sorcery are in here. So, but with the twist that you've got these twins, so you don't just have one Conan, you have two. Now, I think the thing I found a bit of a stretch is old Kadar there seems like a bit of a ruthless fucking tyrant. And when one of the brothers bites his fucking fingers off, he's like, "Oh no, but if you sort of be my bride, then I'll let them off, and they will not die by my hand." You know, that's how we get this convoluted way of, you know, they're prisoners. Because they have to go through that Conan transformation. Remember, Conan was pushing around that thing, and then somehow, you know, they must have been pumping fucking protein directly into him or something. He's got the best slave diet going. But the same happens for the twins, you know, and you've got all these other people as well who aren't these massive monsters, you know, forced to do hard physical labor. But you have this weird thing where, you know, it's like, come on. He would have just killed them off there and then, because he'd killed plenty of other people off as well. And then you have, I think the sorceress, one of Kadar's entourage, if you like, played by Sheba Alana, who never appeared in anything else. So this is just the one thing, screen name China. And basically, she does this weird spell on them and covers them in this web type thing. So I'm thinking, oh, is this like a time jump? You know, has he aged them or what? What has she done? Oh no, this never really addressed again. We just go into a little bit of a montage. So old Kadar there, tyrant warlord, has gone, I don't know, fucking 12 to 18 years or something, you know, of waiting, and they're basically tormenting the brothers. You know, they've never met, they've separated them, and they basically trained them to basically hate someone with, you know, a different coloured helmet on. And so that when they're basically trying to set them up, you know, this, let's say it's 20 years or something, this 20-year plan to set them up so that they kill each other. And then when you have them fighting in the tiniest little cage and they're throwing swords around and you got all these people putting their arms through, and I'm like, you're going to have a handoff there. And what one of them did. And then I don't know, there's something endearing. They're terrible, terrible actors, Chris. But they're basically, you know, walking, talking special effects is what they are. And there's something endearing about the goofy kind of bad acting and banter that they have with each other. And when he's like, because the other guy, Coach Jake's like, what do you do with my face? I mean, I didn't know that they had mirrors where they were, so I don't know how he knows that it's his face. But you get this, you know, he sees that it's him, but he's still trying to kill him, and then they escape and stuff. And I don't know, there's something about the like I say, the bad acting and the banter between the two of them. I was fucking loving it, Chris, I've got to say.
Right, let's just fucking have a word with yourself now. So, it's fucking terrible. But what gets me, you're right, that was the first thing I was like, so did they have glass then? Did they have mirrors? How do they know what each other looks like? They've not seen each other for 20 years, you know. You know your own reflection, but that's because we're in like the 21st century. So how would they know that in this mythical world? But what also pissed me off, Dave, right, was one of them kept going, "Rah, rah," and I'm like, what is he doing? However,
it's like
I don't know what's going on here.
Getting hanged.
Yeah, he sees a girl, and he's like, "Rah," and then they get hanged, the three of them, with the girl, Ishmeen. And they're there, aren't they, the tribe, and they're trying to say to him who they are, and they're like, no, they died years ago. And that guy fucking looks ridiculous. Like, I don't know what he's supposed to be, a knockoff Gandalf or whatever he is, the fucking leader. And that one who's going, just,
I don't think he could be allowed within 100 yards of a school.
I'm fucking telling you. He one of them just fucking decides, I think it's obviously Gore, decides to hang himself. So he knocks the rope off. It looks like he's dying. He's hung himself. But no, they are super strong. And by the power of his fucking vocal cords and neck muscles, he breaks free from this 2-inch thick fucking rope, which would use some more a fucking ship in a fucking, you know what I mean? Absolute bullshit. And he's going, rah, rah, and then the other one's laughing, and then the girl, they then go down and they're like, oh, it is them. Well, the girls are like, hey guys, and he says, you can take the rope from round my fucking neck here. Jeez, everyone laughing away, and it's all a big joke. And I'm like, this is fucking shit. And then Peter Paul's doing the proper, hey man, I want a cab. He's doing a proper New York accent. And he's fucking bollocks, Dave. I'm sorry. This is one of the worst things you picked. It's fucking terrible. These two clowns, as much as the misery of the life, it's absolutely ruined him as well, because they must have thought that their shit didn't stink after this. They must have thought they'd made it. They're fucking, oh my, and the director, what is he doing? Just taking a fucking paycheck or something? Is he just like taking the piss out of this? Because honestly, the stuff going on in this movie is ridiculous. It's absolutely stupid. But from that point on, I was just like, oh, Dave's done me here completely. As soon as he pulled out of the fucking hanging scene, you're expecting someone with an arrow, the best marksman or markswoman with a fucking
Robin
bow
Hood
and arrow.
style.
Yeah, or someone pulls a knife out, or one of them has a fucking, I don't know, Casey's fucking boot out of No Shit, No Surrender 3. He's got a fucking knife in his fucking shoe, and he whacks his leg up and cuts his fucking neck, you know what I mean, like he did on his arms. It's like, fair enough, but this is terrible. And they can't move. It's like every shot is the same shot. They're looking up at the camera like they're about 3 foot tall, and then they look up and they can't run, and everyone else in the scene is doing all the heavy lifting, because these two fucking steadheads, let's not mess about it, just cannot move at all. And it's just, oh, Dave, it's terrible. It's fucking awful. And it's sword and sorcery, so you've completely done me here. This is worse than Necromantic 2 at the moment.
Yes. I mean, the wild card, the thing I wasn't sure about, you've skipped on past where they were going through the hanging scene. The old Ragnicks, didn't recognize them at first, but then after, they kind of rolled around and they laughed. They spotted they've got this tattoo on the back of their neck, which means, oh wow, these are the twins. He didn't recognise them and whatever. You scooched on past there. So Ismene, played by Eva LaRue, for her first role in any movie. She went on to other great things like some Robot Jocks rip-off, Crash and Burn, I think it was called, Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College, which also I think we'll have to watch at some point. So I thought, is this the Rebecca Ferrati factor? I just wasn't sure about that, but it sounds like that hasn't had the same effect as Gore on this one.
Not at all. No, and you're right about that. And then we even get an arm wrestling fucking moment, don't we? So go to that village. They go and see that guy, big guy. He pushes them back a little bit. He's a big blow, but obviously not physically as big as these two. And then we get the whole arm wrestling with the snake, and he's like, "Oh, what's that snake doing there? What's that going to do?" And that guy's like laughing, but obviously he's stronger than him, isn't he? He
scares him away, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Scares the snake away.
A few people, he does. He scares the snake away. Picks a few people. We get a battle, and then they do find Canary, don't they? He's like, no, go and get the ruby, recover the ruby. It's in the forbidden land. And I'm like, oh, Dave, you have fucking done me here. I'm not interested in this fucking nonsense. It's just ridiculous. It's just them two. I can't keep my eyes off them, because I think physically you would. You'd love to be fit and healthy to have a body and sustain a body like that in life. But like, it's just too big, and it doesn't go with like any of the, even when some of the baddies who are muscular, they just look like, they look muscular, and there's a couple of big guys, but they're not on the level. These two are obviously about 5'8", 5'9", aren't they? The Paul brothers. They've just got that compact bodybuilder. Professional bodybuilders are not that tall. You don't get a bodybuilder over 6 foot. Arnie and Lou Ferrigno were the exception. Most bodybuilders are 5'8" down. Really, they're not tall, but yeah, honestly, they impose a massive shadow on the movie. But every scene, like when they're trying to punch people and they're doing things and they're cracking jokes, then they're like trying to want to punch each other, and I'm like, I get the brothers' sibling rivalry. It's like they've said, we'll bring that in. It'll be really good, and I'm like, all right, fair enough, but like. Every scene, one of them, he's just shouting at the top of his voice for no reason. And I'm like, why are you shouting? What is going on here? Is it for the hard of hearing? What the hell's going on? So, yeah, honestly, you've baffled me with this one, Dave. Because I was laughing last week going, yeah, Eva LaRue, it's going to be like the Rebecca Ferrati thing. It's not, Dave. It's not. She cannot save this movie.
I just think that again, for me, the interaction between the two of them is a bit where there's almost like a werewolf kind of creature. They're in this swamp and you got things coming out the ground trying to grab.
Predators, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and he ends up chopping the head off, but then he's like, row, 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 row. He's just pissing about, and it's just like, it's just a bit of fun. But what did you make to the big kind of penis monster? Because it comes out of the swamp, and I'm like, this sort of looks like an erection coming up.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, Dave, I was slightly jealous of the size, but, if it's nonsense, what the face thing look like something you get at a Christmas play or something, wouldn't it? Or we've got all
the Muppets or Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, Fraggle Rock. That's more Fraggle Rock than Muppets. But it's like we've got some paper mache. Like, come on, make it look menacing, and it does look. Don't get me wrong, it does look menacing, but I know when I saw it, you know what I kept thinking of, Dave? Phoenix Night, Sammy the Snake on the fucking bouncy castle. When it's just a big cock and they try and make it out to be a snake, don't they? But it's just a cock and balls, isn't it, on the fucking... And that's a throwback to Max. I saw our good friend Max has watched the Clinton Baptiste this week at the Phoenix Club in Bolton as well, because it's near where he lives. So, but big callback there. But yeah, honestly, I was like, this is fucking stupid. But again, I will give them credit, because the one thing I will say, as we both said, the budget for what they've done, the budget, there is some practical effects and that are not terrible. It's just the fact that the two main leads are fucking terrible. I can get past everything else. It's all the same trope, sword and sorcery bollocks. I can just get past it. But I think there's some effects that are actually quite good. Them predators jumping out the floor. But there's a little bit of thing with that, though, because them two just hit them once. And these are like superhuman attacking predators or whatever they are. They look like predators, rip-off predators. And they both just throw like pathetic swings at them, don't they? Like one of them punches him, I think the other one hits him with the sword, and it's like they didn't really hit him there though, did they? But these things just disappear. So there's a few things like that, but again, it's all budget constraints in it. It's probably the same actors doing different scenes with different outfits on, all the way through. But yeah, I think the idea, and obviously the girl as well, Ishmeen, she's like, she's there, isn't she? She's got like a real bubbly character, hasn't she? She's like the anchor of the two of them, and she's better than both of them put together as an actor. She's miles better in this. She's a more interesting character, I think, because there's a bit of a backstory there, don't we, as well?
Yeah, I mean, it turns out that, by this mad coincidence, this far-reaching medieval land that actually Ismene happens to be Kara. So when the two boys were taken away, there was also a girl there called Kara. So actually, it turns out that she is a Ragnik as well. And they find this out because, skipping past the whole canary thing in the weird... Actually, I've got to come back to that because, again, for 20 years or something, whole Kadar's been keeping the canary in the cage and, she's been holding out, but he's basically got his harem outside there. But when he does kill her, and he seems a bit mournful about it, despite, throwing his sword in her general direction, that... this ruby will stick in the belly button of a virgin. Just so fantastic. And then the other, some of the other girls try it, but the ruby falls out, and then it sticks in Kara's belly, and it's like, oh no, she can't be the queen because she's not a Ragnik. And that's where they see the little tattoo on the back of her neck. It's like, oh no, hey, this is long lost Kara. Oh, brilliant! Yay, she can be the queen. It's like heartwarming stuff, Chris. Heartwarming.
Again, we've watched loads of movies, haven't we, where the coincidences are just like unbelievable, aren't they? But yeah, and what gets me about Canary, Dave, she's been, trussed up in prison for nigh on 20 years, She looks younger than when she went fucking in there. The makeup's perfect. She's got the whole Joan Collins Vaseline effect on the camera. Very pretty lady. It's fucking nonsense. And Kadar, though, Dave, as a baddie, he's just a bit shit, isn't he, really? Like, you know, he always plays a baddie, this guy, Richard Lynch. He's always a baddie in movies and that. Like, you know, he was in a lot like The A-Team and Knight Rider and stuff like that in the 80s. I always remember him. He was always like a one-episode special. But yeah, the whole, like... when they go to like the secret tomb, and it's like we're getting the magical weapons, and them two are arguing over a fucking sword and a fucking axe, and then they keep this little skits going on through the movie. Oh, I don't like.
Yeah,
I want what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, like. If you obviously, I've done that myself. I've got bloody these 9 of us, so it's the old classic switcheroo. Like, oh, this is amazing. And then it's like, what's that? And really, you want like when we used to get Matchbox cars, me and my brothers, when we go with my nana, every week we had like a massive tub of Matchbox cars, and we used to have them. And our Adam always had a Knight Rider. It wasn't Knight Rider as such, but it was the Pontiac Trans Am from Knight Rider, but it had a grey bottom. I'll never forget it. And it was the fastest car. When we used to do the whizzing on the carpet, that was the one. So we used to sit there and get our fastest cars out.
For the Americans, they're not pissing on the carpet there.
No. I'm doing it. You want the way? Basically, you get your Matchbox or Hot Wheels car or Corgi cars as well, do in the UK, and you would just get them and you'd whiz them. You'd basically push them across the floor and see who went the furthest. And this Knight Rider rip-off was the fastest car that we had in the fleet, Dave, and we had hundreds. So we used to do trades and that. And then every now and again, I had a Trans Am because for some reason, Kellogg's Frosties, actually, I never forget, I told me the Tiger Pontiac Trans Am with the Tiger logo on the bonnet, and it's coming back to me now. And that wasn't no slouch, but I always had the best one. And me, and Nathan, my other brother, we'd all be there, and I'd be like trying to maneuver, and I go, this is, and I'd get one off my nan, and if it went and they went with, I go, this is faster than your car, you know. And then I'd try and manipulate because I really wanted that Trans Am, but it always end up in a punch up by the end of it, Dave. We'd always be like, we just end up rolling around the floor, me and Adam fighting each other. But yeah, it was always one of the things. Oh, what have you got? Oh, I want that. No, I want. And then, oh, go on, then you can have. Really, you want the other thing. So I do get what they're doing as a brother and all that stuff. But yeah, I just think like it wore thin through the movie, and the mystical weapons did fuck all really. I mean, one of them's got the sword near the other one all the time. It's supposed to be this really sharp sword, and they're literally holding it like it's nothing, like it's a blunt instrument. So yeah, there's some cracking like comedy moments in this, and also some goddamn awful acting as well. Just ridiculous.
Well, I should mention another recognisable face there is Michael Berryman. So he's in the original Hills Have Eyes.
Yes,
so quite a distinctive looking chap. He was the Dirt Master in this movie. So he was one who's doing a bit of training as well. Fairly small role that he had there. But I wondered what your opinion was. So when the brothers were going and where Canary was locked up in a cage and you had this harem of women and they're sneaking around, and then one of them just decides basically to I don't know, molest some of the women, you know, and then the other brother's like, no, we ain't got time for that. But then
I thought that was the women,
they do wake up, and then basically pin them down. They weren't putting up that much resistance, and then the one's like doing his fucking voice thing. He's like, oh.
Yeah, well, that wasn't because he was upset.
We kind of fade to black almost, as if there's going to be some sexy time, and I'm like, but Canary's right there, locked up. Is she watching you basically have sex with all these women for the next hour or something? So, yeah, I thought, again, never really addressed again. She doesn't seem that disappointed with it, old Canary. But, yeah, I think the fact that they kind of get away with this Ruby and stuff, don't they? And then China, the sorceress finds out, and you have this other one as well who's kind of got this grey makeup, one of the women, and she finds out, and then she has Canary whipped and stuff. But all the way through, you say about Kadar, you say about him not being that great. I mean, he's just not really that ruthless, is he? When he comes to Canary, because she's basically fucked him over. She's basically ignoring him. And then, he gets, or the others can kind of call it out and whatever, but he's still kind of on her side all the way through it. And it's his entourage that's like, this is not going the way you think it's going.
No, and when Canary dies, right, so she's put some sort of spell or whatever's going on there. The screen goes blurry, doesn't it? She stood right in front and he's got the sword and he's trying to fucking stab her. Why the fuck didn't she just move? Because
I know, I was thinking that.
And he does it like 3 times unsuccessfully, and he just stands in front, and all we see, you see him with the sword lunge forward, and all he sees then, the perspective from him, is this blurry vision of Canary. And every time he doesn't get her, but on the 4th one, he gets her, Dave, right in the chest and kills her. And I'm like, why didn't she just move back? Or why did she move out of the way? Why is she just stood there at the end of this movie and allowed it? However, the greatest bit in this movie, which is ridiculous, is, and we love a bit of a plot armor, bit of a plot device, Dave, a callback to something in the movie. Well, when Kedar's fingers got chopped off, which was 20 years ago, obviously he's had to live with these fingers, and he tries to shoot with a crossbow. The fucking twins, and then realizes he's got no fingers. Shit.
I've not had any fingers for the last 20 years.
Yeah. So I'm going to shoot him with a crossbow and go, oh shit, where's my fingers gone? Yeah, you've not had them for 20 years. And then they overcome that, Dave, and throw the sword through his chest. I was just like, that is one a leap and a hell of a fucking callback. Why didn't he use his other hand? That was fucking sensational. What a fucking bit in the movie. That was not like it just happened and he's gone, oh shit, I've lost my fingers. It's like, this guy's had to live with this for years. You know what I mean? It's like he was never able to play fucking snooker ever again after that. He's like, come on, for fuck's sake.
Darts.
Tell you what, Dave, a wank could have been interesting anyway, but go on.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Well, Canary's been holding out for so long. I guess he would have found ways. But I mean, it seemed like it was over pretty quick, didn't it? You have this, like I say, you've got, oh shit, I've got no fingers, and then they both stab him at the same time, and then you've got the Ragnicks, and they know, they don't know what's happened to the 2 brothers and whatever, but then, Kara's looking out, Eva LaRue's looking out. What is that? And then you hear that again, this fucking llama sound or whatever it is. It's like, and it's like, oh, hey guys. Oh, hey, it's you. And then, we're all happy for the end of the movie. And it's just, again, you put all these sword and sorcery tropes into this big mincer of a storytelling script. And yeah, I think there is nothing that is a surprise in this movie at all, but I just think it's so much fun.
But, I'm fucking sat here mimicking how he would have wanked with 2 fingers with my glasses case. I tell you what, Dave, he might have been onto something here. There's a bit of friction with my knuckle here.
Oh, dear me. I know. Well, that's what he had his harem for, presumably.
I can't believe I'm just sat here as you were talking, zoning out with a fucking my glass case, just going up and down. Oh, yeah. I don't know, he might be onto something there, making me look bigger. But anyway, back to the story. I can't believe
his little finger.
46-year-old man doing that.
I feel like a line has been crossed.
But there's a lot of people listening doing the same thing. Top 2 fingers in your thumb. And I tell you what, Dave, there's friction. Anyway, right, so what I would say, right, you're nicking ideas from The Wizard of Oz, fucking King Arthur. You're nicking, these
Clash
different...
of the Titans.
Yeah, you're nicking ideas that there is a specific thing after this has all happened that only one person can do. So you've got Dorothy with the ruby slippers, and they just fit her perfectly. King Arthur, the only one to pull the sword out of the stone is King Arthur sort of thing. No one else can do it. All these big, strong people. That thing again, it's set up. And I've got to say, Dave, it's fucking original. It's like, I tell you what, is this fucking Cara. So they try it on a couple of girls, the ruby in the belly button. I mean, come on, fucking belly button. But because it fits her.
I mentioned this before, but I guess
I know you did. I know you did. But I was concentrating on the fucking glass case 2-finger method. But don't worry, I've not got my pants down. I'm genuinely haven't. But that bit is a classic, isn't it? It's just like, how have you come up? Anybody could have a belly button that this fucking Ruby had come in, and the next minute they put her aloft above the head. She's made it, and obviously we've got the twins have just been fighting. See, the twins at this point in the movie are doing fuck all. They have literally running on empty because their gas tank's gone, because they seem to be running out of that waterfall. When there's also a weird scene where one of them jumps under the waterfall, so that's like fucking showering himself like he's a Vidal Sassoon advert. But they seem to be running out of that waterfall for ages. They were fucking running with Cara at one point, or as she is now, and then she's gone, and they're still running, and they get there again, don't they? And honestly, I love the fact that one's got that gold thing on to try and distinguish who they both are. It's fucking nonsense, this movie. Absolutely nonsense. Honestly, I cannot believe you fucking picked it. Unbelievable.
I am shocked. Well, Chris, with that, should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So Dave, actually, I know it's usually me, but I'm interested to know where you go with this one, because this has baffled me. Like, it's an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh my God, you've done me.
Chris, I love it. I think this is fantastic. I think the way that it looks, the epic shots that we get, I think make it look like a more expensive movie than it is. But I tell you what, as soon as that Canon Films logo comes up, you're like, oh, I'm going to have some fun here. Now, I must admit, the first time I watched it, I'm like, fucking hell, this scene where they're attacking the travelers, it goes on for ages. You have this weird thing where you have the wizard or whatever, and he's kind of a Merlin character, isn't he? Throwing this he's basically invented bombs, it seems, in this fantasy land. But yeah, I think the chemistry between the Paul brothers and Eva LaRue's character is quite fun as well, and I just think it's utter nonsense. It's all of the tropes though that I expect from a sword and sorcery adventure. So Chris, I mean, this is objectively, right, this is a terrible movie. This is not good. Like, on the proper, if it was Mark Commode or whatever, it doesn't stand up against, some of the best movies. But for me, just in terms of pure enjoyment and having fun watching it, this is a Pleasantville for me. It's right up there. So how about you?
Fucking God sake. So, this movie is terrible. It is fucking awful. The Paul brothers, I don't know what was going on. I think someone just said, we can use these guys. And the acting is terrible. The New York accent throughout is brilliant. When they're shouting, it's just like, we're supposed to be in some mythical time here. At least put some sort of accent on. It's like, but no, they go with the whole East Coast accent. And then you've got the Canary, Kadal. This bit at the end was like, the belly button thing was fucking classic. I was just like, this is nonsense. And the whole thing that set me up was Kadal with the 2 fingers, and the fact that that whole plot device from like 20 years earlier. So he's not realizing 20 years he can't fire a crossbow with whatever his left hand or whatever his right hand, whatever he is. So Dave, this is absolutely one of the worst movies I've ever seen. However, I'm sending it to Cloud City because I've not done it for ages. And I fucking love this movie. I was keeping it going for as long as possible. We've not done the fucking switcheroo. This movie is fucking brilliant. The Paul brothers are shit, but I fucking loved every interaction of them, the way they can't run. Everything about this movie is sensational, and I will watch this again, Dave. Even so much so that I'm halfway through a second watch, and I never do that. And I've not done the switcheroo, so it is going Cloud City. It is fucking amazing. It's absolutely brilliant, this movie, because I cannot believe it got made. But I loved it from start to finish. Honestly, absolutely loved it.
It's just a lot of fun, isn't it? And
yeah.
You know what? I was wondering, but I thought I'm not going to call it out. Is Chris going to do an Austin Powers here? Because when we were doing like Double Trouble, you fucking loving it, and the absurdity of it, the fact that it's shit. But it's one of these that's on the so bad it's good scale, isn't it? It's definitely not objectively a good movie, but Christ, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, definitely deserving of multiple watches.
You know what? People are probably listening and go, yeah, but Chris didn't go first. I set you up there. That's why I said, oh, give us your thing there, Dave. That's
I did wonder, but there we go. Amazing
What
stuff.
a movie. What a fucking movie this has been, honestly. And even now, I've got a 2-finger technique to try out later.
Oh, my God.
Fucking brilliant. What a movie. Actually innovating without even knowing it, the Paul brothers. But yeah, honestly, I hate these sort of movies, but I love this because I just love the stupidness of it all.
I mean, we are again challenging. When we started this podcast, you know, we'd established that you hate sci-fi movies, and we started off with the Back to the Future movies, which are sci-fi movies, and so very, very early on, we're like, do you really hate them? Some of your favourites seem to be this, you know, Predator and all these great movies and what have you. And we've gone on for a few years now with this idea that you hate sword and sorcery movies. This is your second sword and sorcery Cloud City of the year. We're fucking hardly into the year yet. So, yeah, amazing stuff.
I couldn't. It might seem obvious when you listen back, but I was trying my hardest just to go with it. Like, just really, and it is a shit movie. It is a shit movie. I'm not even lying. It's a terrible movie, but the Paul brothers have just got so much stupid about when they're on the screen.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just like someone's done them a favour and put them in the middle of a movie that they shouldn't be in. It's just fantastic. So, yeah, great movie. So, Dave, we're going back to 1992. This one stars John Turturro, Bob Nelson, and Mr. Mel Smith. This one is called Brain Donors. So, let's get into the trailer.
Now, that cast list makes it sound very much like a British movie. I've never seen this either. But we start off, it looks very American, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Aren't those numbers clicking by awfully fast? You're probably a speed reader. Well, you got me there.
Oh, my word.
See some experiment that went wrong?
That's from Mr. Arnold.
Why don't we step outside and settle this like men? We are outside. I want
Oh,
to step
fucking
inside
hell.
and settle this like women.
That's Fred Elliott.
Yeah.
So is she.
I say, Ashley.
I say it like.
Do you look 18, officer? I swear.
Oh, well.
Start
Oh,
there.
my word.
I could make love to you right here and now.
Roland, please. Let's keep this on a professional level.
Very well, then I'll charge you $50 a pop. This is ludicrous. Society's the blame.
Before Coronation Street with Fred Elliott.
Yeah.
It's the Japanese that buying up everything. The operation is a success.
What's that performance for that man?
Zucker Brothers production.
I've never seen that or even heard of it.
No, and I am on the fence with which way that's going to go.
Yeah, I am as well. Well, it's not a classic that we would have heard of, so that usually means it's in our wheelhouse, Dave. But there you go.
Yeah, amazing.
It will be amazing. I can't wait for this one. So massive thank you to everyone as always. I don't know whether you spotted the switcheroo there. You may have done, but it's an awful movie. It had to be done. So big thank you. If you want to support us, please go to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. If you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back @gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @VHS Strikes Back. And also, Dave, just a bit of an update because the No Retreat, No Surrender viewing has going up and up and up. And we're at the point where the comments are still coming through. Most of them are currently, Dave. We are at 161,000 views on No Retreat, No Surrender Free. So that's
unbelievable, isn't it?
unbelievable. But anyway,
people trying to watch the movie for free and not ignoring the fact that it says commentary on it, and just getting abused in all kinds of different wonderful languages.
Well, it's good to learn a new language, Dave, isn't it? Even if it is offensive. But there you go. The roll call of honour for today, and a big thank you to Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Matt, Hales, Kent, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. I say it every week, but everyone who supported the podcast, past and present, we really appreciate it. So, Dave, what masterpiece of a song have you got to take us out with today for this masterpiece of a movie?
Well, Chris, I thought, you've got these two beefcakes on the screen for me, and they've got the long hair, obviously they're barbarians and stuff. And for Double Trouble, I went down the rock route, but I felt like I couldn't steer too far from that. And basically, so I've gone for another rock-themed song. But basically, if you imagine this one, I want you to picture yourself, right? You're in the late 80s. You've been watching a rock concert. They played all of their songs, and the crowd are screaming for encore. And then it's all going dark on the stage. And then basically you're going to have one or two lights popping up as the different musicians play their pieces. And then you're going to have the big lights shining when it all kicks in. And this one is just called Barbarian Bros. Bit of slash at the start there.
In a world where chaos reigns supreme, where the strong survive and the weak only dream, two brothers ride, swords in hand, core and cut check, the saviors of the land. Deep in the wastelands, where the brave dare to tread, core and cut check a fight until the tyrant is dead. With axes of fury and hearts made of steel, K-Dog's dark magics got nothing on the seal. The brothers are rolling, their power unleashed. Barbarians don't stop till the fight is complete. In the world for the prize, barbarians unite with their strength and their courage. They're ready to fight. Come and cut check, we'll make it alright. The gore's got the muscles, like a check's got the sass. But their wardrobe's so tiny, they're showing their mass out those masks. They're swinging that swords, saving the land. With cheeks in the breeze and axes in hand, swinging swords, the flashing skin, in a fight for freedom with their passy but when they're barbarian bros, they don't need no ghosts. They're safe in the kingdom with long gloves of time.
Very good, Dave.
Flash your disaster, ready to fight. watching screens is too close. They're Barbarian Bros. They don't need no ghosts. They're safe in the kingdom with all the glass so tight. The fashion disaster, they're ready to fight. Got plenty of sass. Showing their
There we go, Chris.
Excellent.
End of concert. Big power ballad at the end there for the Barbarian Bros with no clothes. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Yeah, maybe you're crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.